Hey guys, let's talk about balanced equations. Okay, we already know what an operation is. We already know how to solve questions of mixed operations. Okay, today we want to look at balanced equations. And so what is balanced equation? Balanced equation simply means an equation where both the left hand side and the right hand side is the same. What you have on the left hand side and the right hand side is the same. And so if you have, say, 2 plus 3 and you say this is equals to 5, this is a balanced equation because after you add 2 plus 3 you will have 5 here and you will have 5 here. And so what you have here where the cursor is blinking, okay, let's be able to have something that separates this. So that here you have the left hand side, okay, the left hand side, and down here you have the right hand side. Normally we will use LHS to indicate that, and we'll say is equals to the right hand side. Okay, so whatever you have on the left hand side equals what is on the right hand side. Okay, and that is what a balanced equation means. Okay, we have situations where we can balance equations. Okay, we can balance equations on equations involving unknown variables, and most of these involves algebra, equations on algebra. Okay, sometimes you can have one unknown or two unknown, usually represented by x and y. Okay, the variables are usually represented by x and y. We have also simple numbers with operations or operators, okay, involved. That is simple number with different operators involved. Okay, and we have fractions. This kind of fractions, we call them equivalent fractions. Equivalent fractions. Okay, and so let's start from the first case. Let me call these cases. First case where we have unknown variables. In the first case, we'll have one unknown variable. So let's call it example 1. Let's say you have 2x plus 4 equals to 10. You are asked to find x. Okay, in this question you can simply say 2x equals to 10 when the 4 crosses over to the other side. I've explained this in a video, arithmetic extras 2. Okay, so you can look at that. We talked about equal signs and all of that. So we can solve this now to say 2x, okay, is equals to 10 minus 4 is 6. All right, to be able to have x, we have to divide both sides by 2, so that 2 over 2 cancels out, and then 6 divided by 2, it will now be equal to x equals to 3, and that becomes your answer. But how do we know that this question is correct, or that the equation here is balanced? Saying 3, we can put, let's call this equation 1, all right, and call this equation 2. Equation 2. So we can substitute equation 1 in 2, or equation 2 in equation 1. What it means is that we go back to 2x plus 4 equals to 10, and wherever we see x, we put the 3, because we say x is equals to 3. So we can have where x is 3, and then plus 4 equals to 10. Now 2 times 3, the bracket there means multiplication. I have also talked about bracket in arithmetic extras 2. So please look at that. 2 times 3 is 6 plus 4 equals to 10. You will see that what is on the left hand side is 10, and what is also on the right hand side is 10. And so this question or equation is balanced. Okay, we've seen an example how we can do this. Okay, let's look at how we can solve for 2 unknown variables. Just an example. Solve for x and y. Okay, so for x and y, you are given 2x plus 5y, okay, equals to 20. All right, let's also call this equation 1. Equation 1. Okay, so now we can solve for x first. To do this, we can say 2x is equals to 20. When the 5y crosses to the other side, it becomes minus. So we can have minus 5y. We can divide both sides by 2, so we can cancel out x. Okay, that means we can have 2x divided by 2 equals to 20 minus 5y divided by 2. All right, so that this cancels out. In the left hand side, we can have only x, and we can now have this 20 minus 5y divided by 2. All right, and that's our x. We can call this equation 2. Equation 2. Okay, now we continue, right? We can substitute equation 2 in equation 1. We can substitute equation 2 in equation 1 so that it can look like this. Anywhere we see 2, anywhere we see x, we just put 20 minus 5y over 2. That is anywhere we find it in that equation. Okay, so that we can have 2x, no more x, this will be 20 minus 5y, okay, divided by 2, you close your bracket, and it's equals to 20. Okay, now we can open our bracket. Okay, so we can open our bracket to have 2 times 20, that will be 40, minus 5 times 2, that will be 10y, divided by 2. Okay, the whole of this is divided by 2 equals to 20. So we can say 2 into 40 we go 20 times, minus 2 into 10 we go 5 times, that will be 5y, so that we can have equals to 20. Okay, and if we have that, we can make y subject to the formula so that we can have minus y minus 5y equals to 20. When this crosses over to the other side, it becomes a negative 20, and this will become minus 5y equals to 20. 20 minus 20 is actually 0. Okay, so that we can have just y. When we divide both sides by minus 5, we can have y equals to 0 divided by minus 5. Okay, and our y will be equals to 0. Okay, we can call this equation 3. Equation 3. Okay, now we can substitute. We now have the values of y as 0. We can substitute our y in equation 2. Our y in equation 2. Let's see how we do that. Our equation 2, substitute y in equation 2. Okay, our equation 2 says x is equals to 20 minus 5y. Where we have y now, we'll just put that in bracket and say 0. You close your bracket all over 2, right? Okay, so that now we can have 20. Our x, let's put x, will be equals to 20 minus, open that bracket, 5 minus 5 times 0 will be 0. Okay, 0, and then this will be divided by this, so that our x will be equals to 20 divided by 2, and the x is actually now equals to 10. Okay, and so we have y equals to 0 and x equals to 10. But how do we know if this is correct? Okay, we come back to our equation 1, which is 2x plus 5y equals to 20, and substitute for it. Our equation 1, 2x plus 5y equals to 20. And so wherever we see x, we are going to put our 10 and plus 5. Wherever we see y, we are going to put our 0, and this is equals to 20. So 2 times 10 here is 20, plus 5 times 0 there is 0, and equals to 20. And so 20 plus 0 is 20, and this equals to 20. You can see that that equation is balanced. The equation there is very, very balanced. Okay, so we have seen the first case. We want to look at now. Let me quickly state that if you do this and you substitute for the unknown variables after getting them, and you do not get the same answer on both sides, that's left and right, you just know that what you have solved is wrong. Okay, that what you have solved is wrong. Okay, so let's look at case number 2. Case 2. Okay, in this case we have a situation where operators involved in the left hand side and the right hand side might be different. In this case, it's very easy. Say for example, just call this example, let's call it example 1 in this case, so that we can have, say, 3 times 2, or 3 4 and dash, let's have a dash, multiplied by 4, okay, is equals to 28 minus 8. Okay, so find the missing number. Okay, solution. You can see that in this case you have different operators. On the left hand side you have the multiplication, and then the other one you have the subtraction. In cases like this, it's very easy to solve. The first thing to do is say that let the missing number be x or y or any variable for that matter, so that where you have this you can have, let's call it y because we're going to be doing multiplication there, so that we don't have a confusion there. So this will be this y times 4 is equals to 28 minus 8. Okay, y times 4 is 4y, and that's equals to 28 minus 8 is 20. So that to get y, you will divide both sides by 4, so that your y will then be equals to 20 divided by 4. Divide by 4, and that means your y is equals to 5. Okay, your y is equals to 5. And so how do we know that this is correct? We go back to the question being asked, and where we have the missing number, we'll put our 5 there, so that it will be times 4 equals to 28 minus 8. If we solve this now, we are going to have 20 here and we are going to have 20 here, and this means that this is balanced and that our question or answer is correct. Okay, and so let's look at just one more example on this. All right, we have, say, example 2. So we have 6 plus 6 equals to dash, which is a missing number, minus 2. Okay, let's call that missing number x, so that let the missing number be x. Okay, so that we can have 6 plus 6 equals to x minus 2. Alright, now 6 plus 6 is 12, and x minus 2 is just x minus 2 minus 2. Alright, we can just retain these 12 here. Okay, and cross over the other one to the other side. Okay, so that it becomes plus, and plus 2 equals to x. Okay, and then our x will now be equals to 14. Okay, how do we know that this is correct? We can simply come back to the same question here and put where the missing number is and put 14. So we can have 6 plus 6 equals to, that dash now becomes 14 minus 2, and so 6 plus 6 is 12, 14 minus 2 is 12, and this means that we are in order. Okay, let's talk a very brief on equivalent fractions. Maybe just solve one question. Now if you look at this fraction 1 over 2 and 3 over 6, when you look at this, you would assume that 3 over 6 is bigger than 1 over 2, but that's not the case. That's not the case actually, right? So you need to solve for this to be able to know. Look at this, 1 over 2 is, it cannot be further divided, but 3 over 6 can be divided, and 3 into 3 here at the top is 1, 3 into 6 here at the, down the denominator is 2. So you see that this is equals to this. So it means that 1 over 2 is equals to 3 over 6. And questions like this is what we call equivalent fraction. Okay, so we've been able to talk about balanced equation. If you have been watching this video to this point, thank you so much for following. Please like, share, comment, and if this is the first time you are joining us on this channel, please follow the channel, subscribe. Thank you so much. Bye for now.